Hi there, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mufaro Mazodze. If you're new, very warm welcome to you. Please click the subscribe button. So today's video is a video that many people have actually tried to talk me out of doing. Like people have said, no, don't do this video, etc, etc. So this video is going to come as a surprise to most people that I actually told I had the idea to do this video. So I am talking about my experience being black at Stellenbosch University, and I would like to put a disclaimer. Though this video is a sensitive topic, I don't want to discuss anyone's story. So anyone who's watching that knows me, you can relax because I'm going to try my utmost best not to bring in other people's experience and just speak for my experience, which I believe I don't see anything wrong about me talking about my experience, okay? So reason number one why I decided to do this video is that I've gotten this question quite a lot when you tell people, oh yes, I was at Stellenbosch University from 2014 to 2017. So I was a student there during those years, and I arrived in 2014. That experience is not going to be the same. I would hope it's not the same comparing to someone who obviously was black at the university maybe in 2001, 2002. Like people went to university, black people started going to Stellenbosch University from as early as 2002, 2001. So my experience is not going to be, is not to speak on everybody else's experience. So I would say the first question I get is, why would you even go to Stellenbosch University? And I think to answer that in a very blunt manner, Stellenbosch University is a world ranking university. It is a good university, and it is part of the top 4 in South Africa, I'd like to believe. It is a great institution of higher education. So that is definitely one of the main reasons why I think I applied there in the first place. So to speak about my experience, I grew up in the Western Cape in Knysna. Most of you might know this. And the two biggest universities in the Western Cape would be Stellenbosch University as well as University of Cape Town, and I think at number 3 I would put the University of the Western Cape. So I only applied to UCT and Stellenbosch University, and I was hoping that I would go to UCT actually, and UCT rejected me. The application didn't go very well, and then Stellenbosch University ended up offering me a place. And they were just more, they communicated a lot better as compared to UCT. And, you know, everything was clear. I had a place, etc., etc. So let's go all the way back to 2014. Here is Mufaro Mazodze. She arrives at the University of Stellenbosch. At first, I actually cried when UCT didn't accept me, but that's a story for another day. I will say that I remember Googling the percentages because I was a little overwhelmed. And, you know, bear in mind, my background is, I've gone to mixed schools all my life, but I had never been in such a situation where the ratios are very, very sort of imbalanced. And I remember actually going on the university's website and trying to figure out how many of us are here, how many black people are here, right? And that was a very overwhelming experience, I'm not going to lie. And at the time I did the research, it was actually 70% or maybe just below 70% white, 15% black, 15% colored, and then the other percentages is other races. So I would not lie, very, very overwhelming experience. You start to think, okay, but it wasn't so bad because I was lucky that I got a place in a res. So I was in Minerva. Shout out to my Minerva girlies. And there was a few of us black people, and I think we just stuck together. We just, you know, we were each other's friends. We stuck together. I'm still very close to pretty much everyone now, and you know, I made some friends. So you know, that didn't go too badly. And I think the biggest question number 2 is, how is the racism? Now, I want to say what I think about racism, right? My opinion on racism is very a bit different, I'd like to think. As Mufaro Mazodze, who was born in Zimbabwe, my first racism experience, I was actually in grade 1. It was my first day of grade 1. Imagine somebody ruined my first day of grade 1. I remember my mom walked me to my class, and this lady actually she asked this lady, obviously she was white, and she's like, where's the grade 1 class? This lady actually she looked so disgusted, and then she just ignored my mother. And that was definitely a, a racism encounter. I don't think, like, my mom she didn't ask her in a language she didn't understand. My mom asked her in English, hello, and she was so friendly. Hi, where can I find the grade 1 class? And the funny thing is, her son ended up having the biggest crush on me in grade 1. So that was, I'll never forget it, because vibes don't lie. She was so upset, like, why is this woman talking to me? Why is this woman addressing me? So I would like to just say, if you're a person of color, you are most definitely going to encounter racism. You're definitely going to meet face to face with racists. And my experience at Stellenbosch University, definitely were there some uncomfortable situations? Yes. Do I want to dive deeper into them? Not necessarily, because the thing about exposing racism, you have to think about it, okay? It is definitely important to expose racism. I think it's important that if your racism is going to affect somebody's emotional, physical well-being, that you should definitely face consequences. I don't want to talk about the latest incident, because I'm not involved. It was not my experience, and I don't want to comment on it, but it is definitely sad and heartbreaking, and I'm glad that the perpetrator did face consequences. But the double-edged sword is that when we expose racism, or when we expose racist institutions, or when we expose racist clubs, racist people, or racist institutions, it could be an institution of learning, it could be an institution of it could be like a club, a restaurant, is that now all the racists know where to go. That's like the catch-22 of it. I think you want to be careful when it comes to the issue of racism. I remember, just to talk about something, I entered the Miss Minerva it was the Mr. and Mrs. Minerva. So it was Mrs. Minerva, Miss Minerva, and Mr. Iandrach. Okay, that took me a while. And it was something I wanted to take off my bucket list. I was like, I've never entered a pageant. Let me just enter the pageant. I asked all my friends to vote me in. Funny enough, they voted me in, and I made the cut. And one of the organizers reached me on WhatsApp. She's like, hey, so you made it into Mr. and Mrs. So you made it to Miss Minerva and Mr. Iandrach. Okay, such a tongue twister. So I was like, oh yay, great, I made it. And then you could sense she sort of wanted to talk me out of it, because I was, one, the only black girl in this pageant, and there was 2 other colored girls. And it was a very interesting experience. I'm not talking about this saying that I expected to win. Definitely not. I have never entered a pageant. I'm not a pageantry queen. It's just something I wanted to do because I believed it was fun. And I think a deeper part of me also wanted to just, sort of say, this idea of black people are not pretty must just stop. So the reason why I mentioned the pageant incident is that I didn't appreciate how the MC didn't take any effort to learn how to pronounce my name. She felt very awkward about me being there. Like I say, energies don't lie. The chances that you will experience outright racism is very low. But the racism you are likely to experience is the subtle type. It's the energies don't lie type of racism. It's how she didn't bother to learn how to pronounce my name. She wanted to make actually fun of it. She wanted to have, her moment of, oh, how do I pronounce this name, So from that experience, I think it was quite obvious that she wanted to ruin the experience for me. She wanted me to feel not welcome, and, she didn't bother to learn how to pronounce my name. And even if I bumped into her in Reyes, she wouldn't greet me. And if she tried to, no, she was something else. But what I want to say is that she didn't make my university experience. My university experience was really great, and I would actually do it all over again. I actually really enjoyed Stellenbosch University and had so many moments where I was so grateful for the fact that I didn't end up at UCT, that I actually ended up at Stellenbosch University, because I feel that the university at the time, things change. You got so much support in your studies. And I even enjoyed initiation. That's something a lot of people ask about, but I know, like, after our year, I remember our year was the last year where they did the proper initiation, where it was sort of compulsory. Your program was set out during the initiation program. You knew today we're waking up, we're singing, today we're doing this, tomorrow we're doing that. Whereas in 2015, they sort of gave people a choice. And I thoroughly enjoyed the skarkles. Skarkles is like speed dating. I mean, it was awkward a bit sometimes, because I remember this is a majority white institution, especially at that time. But I also liked that there was black people and we could just, create our own bubble and just stay in it. I'm not sure if that's a good idea, if that's a good thing. You could leave your comment below. But I did see a lot of interactions between black and white people. But I think it wasn't very common. I don't know about now. But it never bothered me, right? Like, for me, when it comes to who I make friends with and who I interact with, I don't want to work too hard for your acceptance. And I feel like that's what usually happens in the case of black people being friends with white people. You kind of have to twang, you have to prove that you have the money, you have to prove that, you go on holiday to Italy so that you can be accepted. I mean, not always, but I feel like in most cases you have to do a lot more in order to get that acceptance. And I know what I'm talking about, because I grew up in Naisnahan. I grew up in the pits, and I was at a private school at some point, and I don't want to go back there. Like I said, talking about racism, it adds to it. It adds more fuel. It makes the racists happy. They know where to take their children to university. But what we should be doing is taking up space. I remember one of the wildest things I experienced when I got to Stellenbosch the first day. So we used to have house meetings. We used to have section meetings. And in one of the first house meetings, this English white girl, she gets up, she raises her hand, she had a question. I don't remember what was the question. And she's like, I'm sorry for speaking in English. I know that this is your land. And then she goes on to ask a question. And I remember, like, that was before the woke movement. And I remember, like, me thinking, Hebana, how are you apologizing for speaking in a language that you understand? So there's definitely that thing of, Afrikaans people believing Stellenbosch University is their land, and that, black people shouldn't, be there, or they shouldn't feel like the university needs to make them feel welcome. But the truth is that is just not the case. Stellenbosch University is an institution of higher education. And at some point, I went there to get my degree. I didn't go there, I think also, like, to survive a place like Stellenbosch University, you just need to know why you're there. I'm there to get my degree and move on in life. And that's what I did. It's not always the best to, entertain racism, to go into politics, unless you're there for politics. I mean, I know, like, but this is just my opinion. You can let me know what you feel in the comment section. I don't want to be, not to judge people who, go into politics, but for me, it was just a case of, I'm going to get my education. I enjoyed initiation, like I said. I actually enjoy learning about other cultures. So I think if you are open to learning about different cultures, then you should, it's a good place. And just to appreciate one of the things that I saw when I got there, they hired this American guy. He was a guy from America, and he was talking about racism, and he was talking about the importance of diversity. I don't remember if he spoke at our rears or he spoke at the opening, the official opening, but I remember him coming to our rears, and he was talking about, if you're white and you get to university and you're told your roommate is black, please don't run away from your roommate, learn about other cultures. And I think everyone, all parties, black or white, you need to go to university and be open-minded and say, you know what, I'm leaving my little hometown, or I'm leaving my, the Karoo, and I'm going to, the university, and I'm going to meet people of all walks of life. You're going to meet people from all races. You're going to meet people of all languages, I grew up in the Western Cape, I met people from Limpopo for the first time. I met petty people for the first time. I met vendor people for the first time. And it's a great thing. It is not a bad thing to meet different people of different cultures, people of different backgrounds. So, all in all, I definitely enjoyed my university experience. It wasn't perfect, and even if I had gone to study somewhere else, I don't think it would have, you know, it would have been necessarily a lot better, which is why I say I definitely enjoyed my university experience. I don't think Stellenbosch, I wouldn't say the place scarred me. I have some of my fondest memories there. Um, and that is just the truth, and my advice, and I think the reason why I'm making this video is that there's so many matrix right now, making the decision of where should I go study. And if Stellenbosch happens to offer the course that maybe you want to do, the reason why I think that what should be the deciding factor is not the things of racism. It should be which university is going to offer me the course that I want and offer it to me in the best way possible. Which university is going to help me to be most likely to be employed. I used to grow up hearing that, Stellenbosch University graduates rarely struggle with employment. But I mean, now that's a different topic, different story, and we're in a different economy. So I don't want to like imply that. But I think, there are universities that are known better for offering, let's say, for example, Rhodes has always been known to be the best for journalism. UCT, I don't know what they're the best for. But go where you're going to learn, where you know that I will get the most out for me. It's not, don't be scared by racism. Like, racists should not scare you. I think that's where I want to end my video today. I definitely enjoyed my experience, my university experience, and the fact that it was a Stellenbosch didn't ruin anything for me. So, but I mean, this is my experience. I don't want to speak for anyone. I could do a part 2 because there's a lot about university. If you have questions, let me know in the comment sections. Maybe there's something I didn't speak about in detail. I could go deeper into res life. I could go deeper into societies. I could go deeper into a lot of things. So let me know if you want a part 2. I love you for watching always. Bye.